There is a version of you that you have been hiding, not because it's wrong, not because it's broken, but because at some point, probably when you were young, probably when you didn't even realize it was happening, someone made you feel like that part of you was too much. Too intense, too dark, too honest, too real, so you buried it. You learned to smile when you were quietly furious, to stay calm when everything inside you was anything but, to make yourself smaller, softer, easier so that people around you would feel comfortable, so that nobody would flinch. And then you grew up. You got into relationships. You tried to attract women. You did everything you thought you were supposed to do, and still something wasn't landing. Not because you weren't good enough, because you weren't whole enough. Today, we're going to talk about the part of yourself you've been taught to be ashamed of, and why that part, more than anything else you could ever say or do, is what creates real, lasting attraction in a woman. Think back to the first time you learned to hide something about yourself. Maybe you were young, and you got angry, genuinely, powerfully angry, and someone looked at you with fear, or disgust, or disappointment, and something in your body registered that, filed it away. Okay, that's not allowed. Maybe you cared deeply about something, a dream, a person, an idea, and someone made you feel stupid for it. So you learned to wear indifference like a coat. Easier to pretend you don't care than to risk looking weak. Maybe you had desires, real, honest desires, and the world told you in 100 quiet ways that your desire was dangerous, inappropriate, something to be managed, not expressed. So you managed it. You became agreeable, easy, pleasant to be around, the kind of man who never makes anyone uncomfortable. And on the surface, that looked like growth. It looked like maturity. You called it being a good man, but something else was happening underneath. Every time you suppressed a real part of yourself, it didn't disappear. It just went somewhere you couldn't see. It went underground. And a man who is at war with himself underground, no matter how peaceful he appears on the surface, carries that war into every room he enters, into every conversation, into every relationship. Women feel this, not consciously, not in a way they'll sit down and explain to you, but on some deep, quiet level, the nervous system knows the difference between a man who is present and a man who is performing presence. It knows the difference between someone who is genuinely calm and someone who is suppressing a storm. And the performer, no matter how polished, always loses something essential. He loses gravity. That quality of being fully, undeniably there, like a person who takes up the space they're actually standing in, instead of apologizing for being in the room at all. He loses tension, the sense that there is real weight behind him, real experience, real complexity. He loses the thing that makes a woman's thoughts drift back to him hours later, in the middle of something else, when she can't quite explain why. He loses himself, and you cannot attract someone into a version of you that barely exists. Carl Jung, the Swiss psychiatrist who spent his life going places most people were too afraid to look, had a concept he called the shadow. It's simpler than it sounds. The shadow is not a monster. It's not some dark creature lurking inside you, waiting to do harm. The shadow is simply everything you've decided you cannot be. Every impulse that got rejected. Every trait that someone important told you was wrong. Every feeling you were made to feel ashamed of. Every piece of your personality that didn't fit the shape you were supposed to take. All of that got compressed, pushed down, hidden not just from other people, but eventually from yourself. Jung was very clear about something. The shadow doesn't go away. You don't get rid of it by ignoring it. You don't heal it by pretending it isn't there. It lives in you, whether you look at it or not. And because it lives in the dark, because it never gets acknowledged, never gets brought into the light and examined, it starts to leak. It comes out sideways, in irritability that arrives without a clear reason, in resentment that builds slowly in relationships until it's too large to name, in a numbness that settles over your life where nothing is technically wrong, but something feels deeply off. Jung said this: "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate." Most men have an enormous shadow, because no group of people is trained earlier or more aggressively to suppress themselves. Don't cry, don't show fear, don't be too emotional, don't be too sensitive, don't be too sexual, don't want too much. Don't talk about what's actually going on inside you. The rules are contradictory and relentless, and the result is a man who has spent decades performing a version of himself that is at best half true. And half a man, no matter how refined the half is, cannot hold the full attention of a woman who is fully awake. So let's talk about what lives in the shadow of most men, because it's not what you think. The first thing is desire. Real, direct, unapologetic desire. The ability to want something or someone and let that wanting be visible, without shrinking, without immediately backtracking, without performing disinterest to seem safer. Men are taught that desire is predatory, so they learn to approach everything sideways, to bury genuine interest under layers of casual indifference, to communicate attraction in ways so indirect that the woman can barely feel it. And she can't, because indirectness reads as uncertainty. And uncertainty reads as a man who is not quite sure he even deserves to be in the room with her. There is something genuinely, powerfully attractive about a man who can look at a woman and let her feel clearly, without apology, that she is wanted, not desperately, not aggressively, just honestly, just directly. It is, somehow, one of the rarest things in the world. The second thing is intensity. Most men have learned to flatten themselves out, to keep things light, to be easy, to avoid any conversation that has real weight to it. But intensity, the quality of caring deeply about things, is magnetic in a way that easygoing simply isn't. A man who speaks about what matters to him with real conviction, who listens to something and actually responds instead of nodding and deflecting, who isn't afraid to let a moment be heavy when it is heavy. That man is unforgettable. Women do not lie awake at night thinking about men who were easy to be around. They think about men who made them feel something, and feeling something requires a man who is actually feeling something himself. The third thing, and this is the one most men will resist, is darkness. Not cruelty, not aggression, not some performance of being dangerous, but the simple, honest acknowledgement that you've been through things, that there is complexity inside you that doesn't resolve neatly, that you are not all warmth and agreement and light. There is a reason women are drawn to complicated men. In stories, in films, in real life, it is not a flaw in their judgment. It is a signal they are reading correctly. A man who has no darkness has never truly fought anything. And somewhere beneath everything, beneath all the layers of what we pretend attraction is about, a woman is looking for a man who has been through something real and is still standing. The fourth thing is self-respect that has edges. Not rules, not performance, not the alpha posturing you see everywhere online. Real self-respect. The quiet, unshakable sense of what you will and will not accept. The ability to say no without a paragraph explaining why. The ability to walk away from something that diminishes you without drama, without bitterness, just quiet certainty. This gets buried because men are told that keeping a woman happy means being endlessly available, endlessly flexible, always there. But a man with no edges is a man with no real form. And it is very difficult to hold on to something that has no shape. Here is something that most men genuinely misunderstand about attraction. It is not rational. A woman does not sit down and decide to feel something for you. She either feels it or she doesn't. And what produces that feeling is not your resume or your words or the version of yourself you spent 20 minutes preparing before the date. It is the version of yourself that slips through when you stop preparing. The nervous system of another person is more sensitive to authenticity than most of us want to admit. When a man is hiding himself, suppressing his desire, flattening his intensity, performing ease over genuine emotion, something in the woman across from him registers an incongruence, a gap between what she sees and what she senses. She may not be able to name it. She'll probably just call it a lack of chemistry. But chemistry, real chemistry, is almost always the feeling of meeting someone who is actually there. And when a man walks into a room, fully inhabiting himself, not perfectly, not without flaws, but completely, there is a gravity to him, a stillness, a presence, something that makes the room organize itself differently around him, even if nobody can explain why. She doesn't overthink it, she just notices, she keeps looking back over. I want to be very careful here, because men can take this the wrong way. Integrating your shadow does not mean performing darkness. It does not mean being cold, or withholding, or intentionally difficult. It does not mean learning to be cruel and calling it authenticity. It does not mean dropping your warmth and replacing it with attitude and calling that growth. There is a version of this that gets sold to men online. The idea that indifference is power, that treating women badly is a form of self-respect, that the man who cares least wins. That is not shadow integration. That is just a different kind of performance, a defensive one. A man who acts like he doesn't care precisely because he cares too deeply and has no idea what to do with it. The shadow is not the enemy of your goodness, it is the completion of it. A man who is kind and also direct, warm and also boundaried, open and also capable of holding a line, gentle and also carrying something that hasn't been fully named yet. That is not a contradiction. That is a man who is whole. And a whole man, genuinely, not performatively whole, is extraordinarily rare. Rare enough that when a woman meets one, she remembers him for a long time. So, what does this actually mean? Not philosophically, practically. It starts with honesty, not directed outward, but inward. It means sitting with the parts of yourself you've been quietly avoiding, the anger you've been relabeling as stress, the desire you've been pretending you don't feel, the grief you carry around and call being fine, the ambition you've suppressed because wanting things too openly felt arrogant. It means asking yourself with genuine curiosity, not judgment, what am I actually feeling right now, and have I ever really let myself feel it? Not to perform these feelings for anyone, not to weaponize them, just to stop pretending they don't live inside you. Because here is what happens when you stop pretending. You become present. Not the managed, careful, polished presence most men bring into the room, but real presence. The kind that comes from a man who is not spending half his energy keeping himself in check. You become legible, real. Someone people feel like they are actually talking to, instead of talking at a well-constructed version of someone. The low-grade performance anxiety, the constant quiet hum of am I enough? Am I too much? Am I being liked it quiets? Not because you've solved everything, but because you've stopped running from the one person you can never actually escape. And in that stillness, the right women notice. Not all of them, not every one, but the ones who are themselves tired of half-present men. The ones who've sat across from 100 agreeable, safe, perfectly pleasant men and felt absolutely nothing. Those women feel the difference the moment you walk in, and they don't forget it. Jung said that the most terrifying thing is to accept oneself completely. Most men never do. They spend their entire lives curating themselves, showing the acceptable half and hiding the rest. And then they wonder quietly, in the hours when they're alone and honest, why nothing feels like it fully fits. Why even the relationships that work feel like they're missing something. You are not fully seen because you are not fully showing up. The shadow is not your enemy. It is the most honest part of you, the part that remembers who you were before the world started editing you, the part that still carries the heat of your real personality before everyone around you worked so hard to cool it down. You don't have to perform it. You don't have to weaponize it. You don't have to announce it. You just have to stop being afraid of it. Because on the other side of that, fear is not a darker man. It's a complete one. And there is nothing more quietly, devastatingly magnetic than a man who is no longer at war with himself. Start there.